If you find yourself wondering why bad things always seem to happen to you, well, it's because of all the information hitting your senses right now, which, to put in context, is 11 million bits of information every second. Your brain deletes, distorts, and then generalizes all of that information, and then it cherry picks 126 bits to focus on. Now, this is why two people can experience the same event and have vastly different experiences and attach different meanings due to the pieces of information that they're attaching. So to put in context, the size of this room, let's say that is our 11 million bits of information. The bit I'm choosing to focus on is this tiny dot right here. And what happens is we get so attuned to our story. We want to tell this over and over in our brain. We say, well, life is bad, it's always going to be bad, things, and we have this going on. And so we are literally choosing to ignore all of the evidence here that supports the belief that life can be beautiful. And we focus on this information over here that says life is really shit. So in order to change this, it requires you to actively focus on choosing a different 126 bits of information. And this is where the stories that you tell yourself are really, really important for change. So to put in context, as we start to ask questions that unlock the brain, that invite positivity in, the stories about how bad life can be start to dissipate. So if you find yourself in the loop of negativity and you're reinforcing this with your thinking, start to ask questions like, what would need to happen for me to have this? Or, how could I choose to see this a different way? Or how could I see this really bad experience over here as the best thing that's ever happened to me? I promise you it's possible. I spent a year of my life ruminating on all the bad things that had happened to me. I was so in my pain that I didn't want to feel it. So I spent my time distracting and numbing and avoiding, caught up in this cycle of, but this happened to me and it's his fault. The day I surrendered to the fact that I was choosing to co-create all of my own reality and then actively started to look for different pieces of information, that is the day my life changed. So rather than focusing on this is what I don't want, this is how bad life is, and then reinforcing that, I chose to start surrendering to the process of show me how it can be better. This life that I want over here, show me how I can have it. I don't know how, but I trust, I surrender, show me. So as we do this, the brain now starts looking for different pieces of information to enforce this new question, this new story, this new belief that, hey, life could be better. So let's look for evidence that it could. And in this energy, you start to attract more of what you want. You start to see things differently, and then you get momentum. And in the momentum of possibility and positivity, you start to attract more, and then your goals become higher, and what you ask becomes more and more advanced, more and more elevated, until a certain point, I stopped even having to trust. I just know. I know that I am completely at cause for all of my own reality. And no one can change that, no one can change it but me. So if you have a shitty story going on and you want to be at cause for this, just know this, your brain is just doing its job. If it's got a negative story going on, it's just doing its job. It is focused on the pieces of information that you have taught it to focus on, and it's collecting evidence to support your shitty story. In order to change this, we can do this in the mind. We can reprogram the mind to seek alternative pieces of information, but it requires you to be at cause, to be willing, and to every day focus on what you want, believing that it's possible to get it. If you can do this, I can teach you the rest.